A-Level Biology 9700, Paper 4, Variant 1, May, June 2025, question number 5, and this is the fourth video on this paper. So question number 5 is, the Galapagos is a group of islands with high biodiversity. Geopace fortis is one of the main species of finch that live on Galapagos Islands. On one of the Galapagos Islands, Daphne Major scientists measured the bill size, length, width, and depth of individuals in a population of G. fortis over several years. So, in the figure 5.1 shows a G. fortis female. G. fortis feed on seeds, seed size, and the bill size vary. So, it is easier G. fortis with smaller bills to eat small seeds, and the G. fortis with larger bills to eat large seeds. So it means the G. fortis with smaller bills and which eat on small seeds, and G. fortis with larger. So both of these uh, varieties were available over there. So, but in 1977, a drought occurred on Daphne major, which resulted in a large decrease in the availability of seeds, particularly small seeds. So availability of decreased, small seeds decreased, due to which the scientists observed an increase in the mean bill size in the Galapagos fortis population on Daphne major after the drought. So state the type of natural selection that occurred in the G. fortis population on Daphne major as a result of the drought. It means, first of all, there was availability of both types of, that is the small bill, smaller bill, and larger bills. Bill finches, both of they were available over there. But with the passage of time, what happened after the drought? There was the observation of only availability, that is the this type of natural selection which occurred is the directional. Directional means from one peak to the other. That is the availability of larger size. Why it happens? Uh, you know that the G. fortis feed on seeds. Bill size is related to the size of the seeds. So they eat, the smaller bills are better for eating small seeds. So in this way, you can say the drought caused a large decrease in the availability of seeds. So due to which the type of natural selection that occurred is directional selection. I would like to write over there directional, that is, it takes place in the one direction. Directional selection. Directional selection favors one extreme phenotype. So one extreme trait value over the mean, and the other extreme causing a shift in the population's mean trait value over time. So this is the specific type of natural selection in which you can say population's average trait shifts towards one of the extreme phenotypes, because individuals at that extreme have a higher fitness. They are best adapted to the environmental change. So this happens when environmental changes create a selective pressure, leading to the increased frequency of advantageous trait over successive generations, because see, there was the less availability of the smaller small seeds, due to which uh, the natural selection or the nature selected the best fitted species at that time, that was the finches with the larger beaks. So because they can eat on other side of, they can eat uh, the other availability. So in this way, of the seeds which were the large seeds. So in this way, the type of natural selection, we can say that is the directional selection. Now, next question is, figure 5.2 shows the distribution of bill size in the G. fortis population before the drought in 1977. So you can see there was the availability of bill size was average. Sketch a new curve on figure 5.2. Show the distribution of bill size in the G40s population after the drought. So I think we have to increase the beak size. After 1977, the beak size was increased. So we will show this curve with a dotted line. So you can see it will be just like this. It will be shift to the right. Why it will shift to right? Because the peak size has been increased after 1977 because there was only the availability of large sized seeds. So the beak size was also increased to grasp those larger seeds. So we will we will do it with the dotted line because we have to show the increase size of the beaks. Now the next question is G40s also lives on Santa Cruz and other islands in the Galapagos. Most of the seeds available for G40s to eat on Santa Cruz are either small or large. There are few intermediate sizes of the seeds. Figure 5.3 shows the distribution of bill size in the G40s population on Santa Cruz. Number of 40s and bill size. You can see there are two peaks on this. Or two peaks on this. Explain two natural selections in the G40s population on Santa Cruz has resulted in the distribution in bill size. So here you can see there are two peaks. And this type of graph is called as bimodal distribution. Which means two peaks. Two peaks. So for bill size in the G40s population on Santa Cruz. So this type of natural selection is called as disruptive. Disruptive selection. So disruptive selection, you can say the selective pressure leads to the distribution. And here in this case, you can say both types of peaks, smaller with smaller peaks and with larger peaks. So intermediates are very less in number or few are in number. So these two extremes show the disruptive type of selection, natural selection. Now question is, which we have to write over here. First of all, would like to explain. Explain how natural selection in the G40s population on Santa Cruz has resulted in the distribution in bill size shown. As I have already told you that this type of natural selection is called as disruptive selection. So what does it mean that what happens over here? So the key selective force is the availability of the food. As stated, most of the seeds available for G40s to eat on Santa Cruz are either small or large, and there are few intermediate size of the seeds. So what happens? Finches with small bills are highly efficient at feeding on the small abundant seeds. This increases their survival and reproductive success. Finches with large bills are highly efficient at cracking and consuming the large tough seeds. So this also increases their survival and reproductive success. So selection was against the intermediates. Intermediates because there was no availability of the seeds which were of the intermediate size. So finches with intermediate bill sizes are poorly adapted to eat both the small and the large seeds. So they are not efficient enough to crack the large seeds like the large billed birds, nor as they are efficient as handling the small seeds as the small billed birds. So, as a result, intermediate billed finches have lowered survival and reproductive success and face intense competition and struggle to feed effectively on the availability resource spectrum. So, disruptive selection occurs when environmental conditions favor individuals at both extremes of a phenotypic range, while selective against intermediate individuals. Over generations, this process eliminates the intermediate phenotypes and increase the frequency of the genes for both extreme build size. So this leads to the characteristic bimodal distribution. So phenomena is often seen as an important step towards speciation, where the two distinct groups may eventually become so different they can no longer interbreed. So in this way, uh, this type of disruptive natural selection occur when there are two peaks as they have shown in the graph. So I would like to write few points. First point which leads towards the distribution of the bill size to first of all the availability of the food. Towards the existence of two types of species, small bill size and larger bill size. There was there was less less availability of food for intermediate bill sizes. So less adapted to environmental changes. They face intense competition competition and struggle for food. Mm. Over generations, this process eliminates the intermediates. Phenotypes and increase the frequency of the genes for both extreme bill sizes. For both means larger and smaller one. So it was the answer. That is, the food was two type of food was available over there. That is, this with small seeds and larger seeds. There were no intermediate seeds. So due to this reason, these two phenotypes, that is the finches with larger beaks and the smaller beaks, they had availability of food and they existed over there. Whereas the intermediates, they don't find the food. They has to face the competition. They had to face the competition to get their food, and as a result, is the food less due to less availability of food. They were eliminated from the earth, and only the two phenotypes remained over there, which had the availability of food. So it means nature was in their favor. So that was the reason they existed, and the two other species, which were the intermediates with intermediate beaks, they were eliminated from the earth. Now the next question, scientists studied the effect of an increase in the number of tourists each year on the number of invasive alien species presented in the Galapagos Islands. The scientists recorded the number of invasive alien species present each year in the Galapagos Island over many years. The scientists also recorded the number of tourists visiting the islands each year. Figure 5.4 shows a graph of the data for 5 different years during the study. So you can see there are 5 observations. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So these observation shows the n population sizes n, which is equal to 5. So number of tourists visiting Galapagos each year, and they have shown this graph. Now the question is, the scientists carried out a Pearson's correlation. So Pearson's correlation for the data in figure 5.4, the scientists calculated an R value of 0.930. So Pearson's linear correlation and R value, the scientists concluded that there is a significant correlation between the number of tourists visiting the Galapagos Island each year and the number of invasive alien species present. So there was significant correlation according to them. So significant correlation, and the R value is 0.930. Now question is, the table 5.1 shows a probability table of critical values for Pearson's linear correlation. So table 5.1. Now number of observations they have been shown is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So according to this, with reference to table 5.1 explained by the R value of 0.930, they have given indicates that there is a significant correlation between the number of tourists and the number of invasive alien species. So first of all, correlation coefficient. Here I would like to go with that. So if we want to determine the correlation, is statistically significant, then we must compare the calculated R value to the critical value which is present in the probability table 5.1. So, as already told you that the appropriate number of observations and desired probability level. So here observations and will represent the n, and they have marked it with x. So therefore the number of observations is 5. Is 5. So the critical value on the table for the standard probability level of 0.05, first of all 0.05 is a 5% chance the correlation is due to the random chance, and the critical value is on 5. On 5 you can see it is 0.878. It is 0.878 for the stricter probability level of 0.01, when there is only 1% chance the correlation is due to the random chance, it is 0.959. So now we will compare it with the R value, which is 0.930, which is already 0.930. It is already calculated. So correlation coefficient is considered statistically if it is absolute value is greater than or equal to the critical value for the given sample size. So here the calculated R value of 0.930 is greater than the 0.878 when n is equal to 5. So at the 0.05 probability level, it is concluded that there is a significant correlation between the number of tourists and the number of invasive alien species. There is strong correlation is merely a coincidence less than 5%. Would you like that is we have to, I think I should write over here all this which I have explained you, because this value is great lesser than 0.93 the calculated value. Which is greater than the at the probability 0.05 probability. So this is concluded on the base because this value is greater than the 0.878 which is given in the table 5.1. Now the next question is, invasive alien species are thought to have contributed to extinctions recorded in the Galapagos Island. Discuss the negative effects of introducing invasive alien species to an ecosystem. So, first of all, invasive alien species are non-native organisms that cause harm to the ecosystem. So, they are introduced into their negative effects are wide ranging and often devastating to the negative biodiversity and ecosystem function. So I would like to write the answer. That is the first of all, I have told you that what are the invasive alien species. Invasive alien species are what? They are the non-native organisms. So when they are introduced into an ecosystem, their negative effects are wide-ranging and often devastating to national native diverse biodiversity and ecosystem, because the invasive species may be a novel predator for which native prey species have not evolved defense. So this can lead to a rapid and drastic decline or even the extinction of native species, or they can act as a vector of the vector for new pathogens or parasites to which the native species have no immunity, leading to widespread epidemics and die-offs in the native population. Or these invasive plants or animals can fundamentally change the physical or chemical structure of the ecosystem. For instance, some invasive plants can alter the fire regime, change soil chemistry, and drastically affect water availability. So, if the invasive species is closely related to a native species, they may interbreed. They can lead to the genetic swamping of the native population, reducing its genetic distinctiveness and potentially leading to the loss of unique adaptations. So, they can consume resources vital to native species or disrupt important ecological interactions such as pollinations or seed dispersals, reducing the overall productivity. So these can be the different type of. I would like to write the answer which I have explained you. That is the for native species, and secondly, they can also act as vector for new pathogens or parasites to which The native species have no immunity. Invasive species can change the physical, physical or chemical structure of ecosystem if the invasive species is closely related to, to a native species, they may interbreed and hybridization may lead to the loss of unique adaptations or reducing the overall productivity. So it was about this question. Now we are moving towards the last question, part of this question. State two factors other than competition and the introduction of invasive alien species that can cause extinction. So the extinction can be caused by two major factors, which can be, I think so, habitat loss, degradation, and fragmentation. So it is the, you can say, the greatest threat to the biodiversity. So complete removal of the habitat, deforestation leaves native species with no place to live. So pollution or other changes that make the habitat unhealthy or unusable. So breaking a large continuous habitat into smaller isolated patches, it can happen. So it can also lead to the problem. So the first is the habitat loss. Habitat loss, degradation, or fragmentation. So this is the different steps in the habitat loss. And the second, which we can write, is the climate change. Changes in global and regional weather patterns can push species beyond their availability to adapt. So, due to this, climate change can alter the timing of seasonal events, flowering, migration, breeding. So, if a species life cycle event is no longer synchronized with the food source, it relies on the insect hatching before birds arrive to feed on them. So, it can lead to starvation and population decline. So it was all about question number 5. Please like, share, and subscribe my channel. Thanks for watching.